commissioner was there and she was watching and said, I can't hear you, cut on your mic. Said hello, I did. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the September 21, 2021 City Council meeting. And for those that are joining us on this newfangled thing they call Facebook or internet or whatever we're on. What? YouTube? Okay. I knew it was one of those things. So we're glad to have everybody here and have everybody joining us. Am I coming through okay, Grant? All right. We'll go ahead and have a word of prayer and then we'll get into our meeting. If you'll bow with me, please. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day and the many blessings you've given us, Lord. We've been reminded here just a few minutes ago of how precious life is and how soon it can escape us. We pray a blessing on those that are suffering because of lost loved ones tonight and over the last few days and weeks. We pray you'll continue to bless this community and this city. We pray that you'll continue to bless these council members and their families. We pray that you'll continue to bless our employees as we have those who have been sick or have been in accidents. Or we just pray that you'll be with them and heal them as be your will. We ask now that you go with us, bless this meeting, bless our decisions. Forgive us our many sins. Amen. Amen. All right, got a set of minutes there from last time. It's been a while since we met. It's been 5 weeks. Every now and then, because of the quirk of the calendar, that happens. Have y'all had a chance to look at the minutes? Okay. Anybody got any changes, comments, suggestions? Or preferably a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right. Second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye. 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 Minutes are approved. Come to that portion of our meeting we call public business. Anybody would like to address us now is the time to do so. Where is Brian? I'm going to go ahead and... Brian's got good news. I'm going to call... That's a little out of order. I usually don't call on people, but I'm going to call on you.
I appreciate that. I'm Brian Howard, Brown Lake Baptist Church. Some of you weren't on the council the last time I was here. But we are doing a ministry to single moms and widows where we are giving them free oil changes, and we're using the old City Hall building on the square. And you asked me to come back after we had that up and running for a couple of months and give you a report on it and answer any questions you might have, and that's why I'm here tonight. Okay. You should have in front of you a one-page summary just to give you an idea of what we do. We started on July the 24th. When we launched this new ministry, it's our way of giving back to the community, supporting the residents of this community, meeting physical needs. Hopefully, may have an opportunity to meet spiritual needs as well. We do this on 2 Saturdays a month, on the first and the third Saturday, unless there's an event on the square that conflicts with that. So if there's a jazz festival, bluegrass festival, the train robbery. If that's going on the same day, we will move it to another Saturday, or we'll cancel it for that Saturday and just do one that month. We start at 7 o'clock in the morning, go to 3 o'clock, so we're able to do 11 or 12 oil changes each time. And all the residents have to do is go to our website, fill out the application, and we'll get that scheduled, and we will get that taken care of for them. It's been very, very successful. I listed at the bottom some of the comments that we've had recently. I'm not going to read those to you, but you can have an opportunity to read those, and you'll see that these moms are. I remind you the last time I was here when we were talking about this. I was raised by a single mom of 6 kids, and she did it from since I was 2 years old. I was number 5. She was pregnant when she became a single mom with number 6. And I know personally the struggles that single moms have, because I've lived it. And I've had this vision in my heart for 20 years, and it's now coming to fruition. So I want to thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity. It's been a blessing more to us than it has to the recipients. So what questions do you have for me?
Brian, let me say that I'm thankful that we had the opportunity you brought this to us. I think this is a good thing for our community, and that's something I'm all about, and I know you are too. I don't know that I had heard your personal story, but okay. I'm impressed that you have committed yourself to helping folks.
Right. Thank you.
And As far as I know, everything's working okay. We have any issues, any problems, any questions?
Would you mind just reading a few of these little thank you notes at the bottom? I think they're wonderful, and I'd love just for the people in Watertown on camera just to hear a couple of things, just some of the feedback you've gotten.
Absolutely.
Just pick one or two of your favorite.
I will do that. This one says, I'm a single grandmother raising my 7-year-old grandson for the last 6 years. I'm way overdue for an oil change, but after I pay my bills, I usually have $20 to $25 left over. My last oil change cost close to $100, and I cannot afford it. I have worried that my car is going to break down if I didn't do something soon.
And that one person probably made the whole thing worth it.
Yes, absolutely. So, and that's exactly who we were hoping we would reach. And I'll read a couple more, but while I'm stopped, our vision was to help moms who are struggling because they get up, they go to work, they come home, they get their kids from school, they cook dinner, they get the kids to bed, they get up and do the same thing all over the next day. They barely make ends meet, and driving, and this is proven out. The majority of the vehicles that we've done over the last 5 oil changes have been 15 years and older and 200,000 miles. These are not brand new cars coming in for oil changes. These are moms who are putting it off because they need to buy medicine, they need to buy food, they need to place shelter for their children. And if they don't take care of their vehicles, they're not going to have a way to get to work. So that's who we were targeting, and that's exactly who we've reached. All right, here's another one. May God bless you. This is a wonderful idea to help others. I'm a single mother of 3 who works 40 plus hours a week, and my car has been telling me for a week that it needs an oil change. This is an amazing thing y'all are doing. For single moms, sometimes the smallest things are the biggest or the hardest things to get accomplished. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping us single widow on-duty moms. I'm a widow mother of 2 and drive a lot through my business. So that's just a few of the ones. So thank you for asking me to do that. Almost makes me very emotional to read those things because I've lived that most of my growing up years. I know exactly what they're talking about. Any other questions?
It's a great idea to ask them to do that.
I think we've got a few minutes we can spare.
Oh yeah, we're going to deal with positive stuff, I promise you.
Well, I really appreciate what y'all are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Ryan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Keep up the good work. He mentioned something at the start unrelated to the oil changes, but he said first time he'd been here and there were some people here that hadn't been here before. I think it's the first time in 4 or 5 months that we either haven't had a vacancy or an election to fill the vacancy. So it's nice to see everybody and have a full house, even if we got some that don't follow the Tennessee laws.
We'll talk about that.
I don't know who you be talking about.
Yeah. All right, who else? Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Okay, mine's quick. A question came up about the Christmas parade. So the question was, what is our theme? Christmas was what I said.
Yeah.
And
That's a thought.
So then I got to pondering that, and basically when I first started taking over the Christmas parade, one of the comments that was made to me is like, don't make it too religious. And I took offense at that, and I immediately rebutted with, this is Watertown, and we are very proud of our Christian heritage, and of course it's going to be Christian, and if anybody that wants to put out a nativity scene or put on a camel and some wise men on their float, then that's what we want to see. So I was interested in what your feedback is on that perspective.
I feel like with it being a Christmas parade, each individual or each organization that wants to have a parade, wants to have a float out there, that is their choice to put whatever they wanted on there.
That's why we've kept it so general.
Yes. The way y'all advertise it, it's very general. We've got Mr. and Miss WHS that go on there. It has nothing to do with Christmas, but they want to be involved in the community. So I don't see a problem with how y'all have always done that in the past.
Well, we'll carry on.
As far as I'm concerned, you have Christmas and you have a Christmas parade and you do religious, however you want to do it. And if people have
Oh, by the way,
I
since
don't want
we're
to be
live,
challenging. Let me just say this. We'll defend what we do.
Since we're
Okay.
live, I have had a 2-year vision that hasn't come around yet, because I understand, good luck finding a donkey that somebody will let him sit on it. I want to see at the very end, one of these years of our parade, Joseph leading Mary on a donkey as the last thing that comes down the road. So if anybody knows anybody that can do that, I'm requesting somebody to step forward and say, I got one. That's all.
I know some donkeys, but they're two-legged.
I don't think they're qualified.
I probably shouldn't have said that. Okay, Miss Heather, you had your hand up, I think, next.
Can I say something more
Sure,
to her?
absolutely.
In the years past, I've always had it's always been easy to find how to join the parade with the registration. Last year, I really had a difficult time finding the registration. So I don't mind helping post it on social media. But
It is on the Watertown website, Watertown itself. Now, what happened last year, or actually for the 4th of July parade this year was, and I didn't realize that this
Yeah, I
was
had
a
trouble finding
glitch.
it then, too.
And 2 applications didn't get to me for the 4th of July parade. And I had no idea what in the world, because these are people that always come. And come to find out, Jimmy down at Jim Ambrose told me he had to go track down applications at Visionary Design, because those that came through the website went to them.
okay.
And they didn't just send them out. He had to go fetch them. Well, I had absolutely no idea that glitch existed. So I went and talked to them, and we've got that on board now. I said, if you get something, you better send it to me, because I'm not going to come find you. So that's where that goes. But my name is on the application. My email's on the application. Send it directly to me. It will get done.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me say too, that we're 8 months away, or will be at that time, from an election. So I suspect you'll have a large influx of county officials that want to be in your parade.
Anticipating that.
Yep. And I'll help get the word out. All right, Heather, well, finally, third chance, we're gonna let you stand up. Yeah.
Hey y'all, let me start with, I hate speaking in public.
I do too.
I've got new glasses, they're progressional lenses, so I can't see half of what I've got wrote down. So, good evening, City Council. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to bring something to your attention that I feel needs to be addressed immediately. My name is Heather Patterson. I live at 612 West Main Street here in Watertown with my family, including my mom, Carla, who just moved in with us after an early retirement in July. There's nothing more dangerous to me on this earth than a police officer who believes he's untouchable and above the law. Being a codes enforcement officer does not give anyone carte blanche to do as they please and trample on the townspeople's Fourth Amendment rights. The Fourth Amendment rights are as follows. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. While I realize that the Fourth Amendment is not a guarantee against all search and seizures, they must be deemed reasonable under the law. No probable cause, no warrant, no crossing onto private property. The law is clear and simple. Unfortunately, Watertown, our town, has exactly this in Officer Don Willis. On Sunday, July 25th at 1:52 p.m., he pulled his patrol vehicle in front of our house and in front of our car to prevent us from leaving our property. He approached our vehicle and asked us if we were getting ready for a yard sale. We said no. He told us that although we weren't breaking any laws, the boxes on our porch brought the look of the neighborhood down. We explained that we had just finished moving my mom in with us from Missouri. This took place over months' time and many trips to pack her home and bring up boxes. The boxes on the front porch were boxes that she needed to go through. He told us that we live on West Main and that he just can't have that. Furthermore, he told us that he has had trouble with us for years about our property. Before that day, we had never spoken with him and possibly never even seen him unless maybe around town organically. He was loud and he was rude. What a way to introduce my mom to our tiny town, after me telling her for over a decade how great it is here. He wanted to know when it would be cleaned up, and my husband, Trent Patterson, told him when he gets to it. We had all the boxes removed in less than a week. Officer Willis left within a few minutes of arrival. On Thursday, August 19th at 1:03, Officer Don Willis came back to our property. This time he arrived, parked in front of our home, walked down our front sidewalk, then to the right of our driveway at 1:09 p.m. He never once attempted to make us aware of his presence on our property. I'm unaware of exactly what he did on our property at this time, but we were told by others later that he took pictures of our car tags and helped himself into our backyard. I sent the mayor a message and asked him to please call me, that it was important, at 8:11 p.m. At 8:44 p.m. he called me. I filled him in on what had occurred so far. We spent 6 minutes and 4 seconds on the phone. I was assured that he would look into it, and he did. The following day, Friday, August 20th at 10:51 a.m., Officer Willis, along with Officer Fuller, came to our property. Again, we still do not have a warrant, we do not have probable cause, and we definitely do not have permission. Again, they have not contacted us, the property owners. They have not knocked on our door, rang our doorbell, or sent a smoke signal to contact us in any way, although I know at least one officer had a way to get in touch with us directly within the Watertown Police Department. After violating our Fourth Amendment rights, again, Officer Fuller contacted my husband and suggested that we do need to do a backyard cleanup, and told my husband the concerns that Officer Willis had. Now please remember, originally Officer Willis wanted the boxes off of our front porch. How it spiraled into a free-for-all of our personal property, I'm not sure. Now we have 2 pot-bellied pigs that live on our property. They live in our privacy-fenced backyard. We were given permission to have them years ago by Officer Joe Hall. Our black pig Petunia was living at another home here in Watertown where she was not treated well. She escaped her living area every single day, begging for food, water, and space to roam. Long story short, we ended up with her. A year later, we adopted Lily from a family who didn't realize what a pig as a pet truly meant. The two have been inseparable ever since. We can leave gates open. They do not attempt to leave. We have 2 gates, and they stay exactly where they are. You see, pigs are highly intelligent. They aren't given enough credit, and if they are miserable and mistreated where they are, they will, in fact, do everything within their power to get away. Now, Lily wobbles a bit when she walks because she's just got plain old fat. She's on a strict diet and doing well, slow and steady to get her weight down. Petunia, she too got fat. She too went on a diet, and she did much better than Lily. Petunia began to limp on a front hoof. We'd been working with a local vet to get them both seen to have their hooves trimmed. There's a fun fact. It's safer to get a pig drunk on beer than to sedate them. So that's what we had to do. Over a period of time, we had to buy a certain kind of beer and feed it to the girls. The goal was to get them drunk and relaxed, but not passed out and cold. Without being able to weigh them, it was a guessing game. And before heading out on vacation, we'd finally found the right number of beers for each of them. 6 for one and 8 for the other. We had an appointment set for Monday, August 23rd, and the vet came out, trimmed both of their hooves, and gave them pain meds for after. Petunia's limp will improve with time. There is nothing that he could see wrong with her, and he will be back in 3 months for a follow-up if it's needed. I tell you all that because I've heard through the mill that there's an issue with our pig limping and also their pool. They have a pool that is their source of fresh drinking water. We clean it out once a week completely, but refill it daily or as needed. If one of them goes for a dip in it, then it needs refilled right after. We keep water plants in there that are called water lettuce. Its sole purpose is to filter the water. The plants live off of the algae in the water and do a fantastic job of cleaning out a pond. Water can be dark, murky green that can't be seen into, but with those plants in just a bit of time, they will be clean and clear. During the summer, our pigs have these very plants, and they do their job very well. Now, with 100+ degree days, the pool may get a little algae in the bottom, but it does not affect their drinking water quality. It's impossible to avoid. That was another complaint, that their pool bottom was slimy. Please also bear in mind that we were out of town at this point for 8 days. They were overdue for a full cleaning, but because we were out of state for our 25th wedding anniversary vow renewal, it hadn't been done yet. We did have 2 responsible adults coming daily to feed and water everyone. However, a few extra days without a scrubbed outdoor pool is not a major deal or neglect. Plenty of outdoor animals do not get that monthly, let alone weekly. Another complaint was that the pigs did not have access to food at any given time. But not every animal can free feed. My girls forage our backyard daily for clovers and grubs, etc. They also eat the young banana trees we have, along with a pelleted diet and fresh fruits and vegetables. Once a week, we clean out the fridge and they get the leftovers as a treat. They are far from neglected or suffering. They are very much a loved part of our family. Now, on Friday, August 20th, when both officers came to our home, abusing our Fourth Amendment rights, the complaints were as follow. 1, a pig was limping. 2, pigs' waters were not to their liking. 3, trash cans in use without a lid. 4, yard debris. Examples, we had bikes standing in a corner with old fencing. 5, 2 of our cars had expired tags. I contacted the mayor again to address the issue, and it was forwarded to Assistant Chief Henderlight. I already addressed the pigs. The trash cans. Some do in fact have lids, but others do not. My husband goes to the dump 3 times a week usually. There are days that...
Heather, can I stop?
Yes, sir.
What are you asking us to do?
I am asking, well, for one, you know, I've asked twice now for copies of all the paperwork and stuff.
You should have that.
Where is the probable cause?
Well,
how did this start? He started out about boxes.
Okay, but I'm not arguing with you, but is
Right.
there a charge on the table? Have you been charged with it?
No,
With
and that's
anything?
the thing. He keeps coming and coming and coming.
Okay.
But half the time he's not communicating with us. And as soon as we fix something, it's another thing. The problem is that this officer has done this repeatedly with several other people. He's upset and called my son's car a junk car where the tags were expired as of August 1st. There is a car in this town that is driven daily that's tags expired in 2007.
Okay.
He complained that our porch was taking down West Main Street. I can argue easily that there are several other porches on Main Street.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there now. Let's don't get into a meeting that's being televised, accusing somebody else of things.
No,
You
and
can't
I
have that
don't,
here.
I don't want to, I'm not here.
So
I'm
what are you
not
asking
here
us to
to
do?
brock.
I know you want the public records, and you should
I
have.
want the situation addressed. If he has done wrong, if he did not have probable cause, then that needs to be addressed.
Okay, all right. I'm not trying to cut you off.
No,
but-
that's fine.
But I mean, we're here, things are brought to us if you need some action from us.
Yeah, if he hasn't done things legally, then there needs to be action.
Okay.
And I can happily forward you all the information. I've looked into the laws. There's lots of
Why don't you
options.
share what you were reading with us by email?
Absolutely.
Would you do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, we'll look
Okay.
into that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Do what? And I understand, Chief, and that's fine, but again, we are not a court. We don't decide issues. I mean, we decide if somebody is addressing something to us. Yeah, all right, go ahead. Do what?
So that's kind of part of what
Okay.
I want her to understand. Also, the commission, y'all write the laws,
Mm-hmm.
y'all just write the laws, they don't enforce the laws. But if you got a problem, the first stop should have been come to the meeting. Okay? We could have took care of everything right then and there.
Okay.
But you didn't do that, you decided to call the mayor.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. You know, your relationship with Mr. Hall is none of my business, and I don't care about that. I've seen that, and if you got something in writing where it's, you know, where you give you permission to keep the pigs, which is a violation, and in that case, you know, I'll be glad to look at that, and make sure that's not an issue anymore. But, you know, these problems, you know, if there's a problem with the police department, you come to me. And if you got problems with me, then you come to the mayor, you come to these folks here. Because they got all the say so in the world on me. But they have got, you know, they don't have any authority.
Let's fix that tonight, man. Y'all talk and deal with this. It won't have to come to us.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I know that you are aware of the situation of no one from the police office department and has brought their contact to me. So we can go both ways.
Let's fix it. Let's fix it. Yeah, Ted.
Is there a way that we can have the codes put on like the website or something? Because I know like, I was looking for them and I couldn't find them, and I had to ask about getting that. So I think that would help if those were accessible for everybody. Because I mean, I think a lot of people don't even know, like in her instance, she doesn't really know why they're there or why, you know, maybe there's a problem. Whereas I think if that was there, you could say, okay, well, this is a code and I'm breaking that or not breaking that.
It's not available on MCAS for Watertown.
Okay.
And I'd like it to go on record that I did not see your property, so I don't know what it looked like. But I do have a question. Would a codes violation be probable cause for an officer to go to a home? If they noticed that there was a code violation and they thought it was, it may not have been, considering the circumstances you read.
There is, I'll get for you 1 second. Issue, it gives him the authority to go on that property without restriction.
With
All right, again, we're back to, you know, answer the question, but let's don't be arguing. That's not what we're here for. Again, we are not a court. We can't decide disputes. If we've got a problem with personnel, that's a fair question.
This is only in reference to an animal. That's okay, you can give it to me afterwards if you want. We can move on.
Yeah, what I want is a commitment that y'all will talk to this lady. And what I'm gonna say here publicly tonight, I'm gonna stand behind. I understand the chain of command, but if any citizen in this town wants to talk to me, they're gonna be able to. That's just the way it is. I'm elected by these people and I won't run from them. So I'm gonna expect y'all to talk and hopefully resolve this issue. Is that fair enough? Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. All right. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to close the public comment part of it then. And we'll move on. Dale, you're up. Where's Dale? There he is, front row. I'm not used to seeing you there.
Washcon did come out and do the repair work to the digest aeration piping like we talked about a couple months ago. We also had a keypad in the influence samplers control unit that went out. Half the buttons wouldn't work on it anymore, and I had to order a new keypad, which should be here next week. It's $85 plus shipping for a keypad. Other than that, I don't have any major things to announce this month.
Anybody got any questions of Dale? I do have something that Dale and I were involved in, but if you have any questions of Dale. Okay, and Dale, jump in here if I misstate this. You know your business a lot better than I know your business. But the state has to issue us a sewer permit every 4 or 5 years. And they issued one several months ago, and we have some folks that live about 4 miles from here, 3 maybe out toward the commerce community that own a farm that took issue with the permit. And so this matter was set for a trial in November. And we agreed to go to mediation. And Dale and I went down and represented the city on August 31st, is that when it was?
That sounds right. I can't remember the exact date.
It was late August. And we reached an agreement, so there'll be no need to have a trial. What these folks are concerned about, they're very concerned that we get the work done on the sewer lines, and we're going to do that. But we made some commitments that day, as did the state. But our commitments basically is we'll provide them a written report every 90 days of where we are. First one due on October 1st, that won't be any problem. We'll provide them documentation of all the smoke testing we did of the sewer collection system. Dale sent me a slew of photographs today, and I've already forwarded those on. They want a tour of the sanitary sewer system. That'll be an eye-opener. And Dale's have you conducted that yet?
No, I haven't talked to them yet. They haven't contacted me about
Well,
when they want to do that, so.
that'll be interesting. They want, we've got to get these easements for the property, and I've not heard from either one of them. What we had to do is commit that if we don't have the easements by October 31st, we'll have to file a condemnation action to get them. I sure hope we don't have to do that. It slows down the process, plus it just doesn't bring a lot of goodwill. So I will notify these folks again, but I sent those letters about a month ago, not heard back from them. We'll notify them if there's any changes to our permit. And these folks were threatening to sue us under the Clean Water Act. And while you don't want that to happen, because that goes to federal court and that goes with attorney fees and that type of thing. So we have avoided that by entering into this agreement, as long as we live up to our end of it. So it could be in October, and I'm not sure what, but it'll be the third Tuesday. It could be that I have to bring a recommendation to you to file eminent domain or condemnation action to get those two easements. I sure hope not, but anyway, it doesn't require any action. I went down as mayor. I didn't try to act as attorney, but had we not worked this out, we would have had to hire an attorney to go in, and I was just trying to save us some money. So we got that done, and hopefully we proceed on. I'll have more to say about the sewer thing in a few minutes, but again, I'll come back. Anybody got any questions of Dale?
Has any of this rain caused us to be in an overflow?
Yeah, it is right now.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we've got to get this fixed to try to stop that.
Yeah. We're good for now then?
Mm-hmm.
Did I leave out anything?
I'm sorry?
Did I leave out anything or miss?
No, I think you covered it. I think you covered what we had in.
All right, well, I appreciate Dale. He went down that day. We spent, about 4 hours of,
yep,
ironically,
most of the day.
in the hard rain, talking about how rain affects our sewer system. And we spent about 4 hours in Nashville, which is never fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I won't say that. We all will. If I never have to go again, it'll suit me fine. Okay. All right, Dale, thank you. Next up, Chief Hahn. I thought I saw Blake come in. Yeah, there he is. He's hiding.
Good evening.
We've got our regular response report, and we also have some information on the radios that we talked about last month. Our response report, last month we ran 31 calls in the city and 37 in the county for a total of 68 calls last month. And that's about on par with the previous month also. So we have reached out and demoed some radios. We went with Motorola and Kenwood to demo. So our bid that we presented last month, it was, what was presented with the grant, I apologize, was based on the Motorola. And that's what they figured it on, and they grant us the money. We had demoed and found that the Kenwood was very much adequate for what we needed, and at a much lower price, about a third the cost. Several agencies around here are using that, and so that's due to the cost and it meeting our specifications. That's what we would like to go with. With the paperwork that was sent out, you should have two quotes that was attached. One from Middle Tennessee Two-Way, which was $23,675, and the other was $26,000. So basically, what we would be responsible for is 5% of the total grant. Last time that we went through a grant process, we were under the impression that it was 5% of the bid, but they want you to pay 5% of the total grant, which would be about $5,500. And in turn, we get the $25,000 worth of equipment. Since the grant was written for 19 radios, and that leaves about $75,000 left, we can't order any additional equipment right now. So we have to order 19 radios, and then the remaining federal funds, we can spend that on that same project. So as to where we thought we were going to be able to get 19 radios, by going with this cheaper alternative, we can have the possibility to replace our radio system completely, purchase 30 radios that would go in vehicles and apparatus, and which would be an incredible thing for us. We were under the impression that that would be able to come later on, and this is something that would be possible now. So what I'm seeking is approval for these this quote, either the Middle Tennessee two-way or the Comtech. And the Middle Tennessee two-way came in at a lower bid, about $3,000 cheaper. It is discounted by the state bid, which gives about 30% off of the list price, and the Comtech was was quoted on the county bid, which was about 26% off of. So we get a bigger discount if we use the state bid. I'd contacted a gentleman at the state, and he was the one he's the contract administrator, and he had told us that we could absolutely use the state bid and that everything was good with that NAFCO.
So you're recommending Middle Tennessee two-way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we approved last time up to $10,000, so we should have the match covered.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so you've heard the recommendation of the fire chief to accept the low bid with Middle Tennessee two-way, and I certainly have no problem supporting what the chief wants. So what's the pleasure of the board? Got a motion to approve that. Is there a second? Got a second? Discussion, questions, comments?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I noticed you were looking at some paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Was this bid sent out to all of us? I didn't receive anything. It may be something with me being new on the council, but.
Didn't we sent this out, didn't we?
Sent an email, we got an
Yeah.
email.
Okay.
You sent it out, Lisa sent it out Friday, didn't she? All right, we need to check your email address. Yeah.
I'll double check. I may have missed it, but.
Well, we may have to. Yeah, we'll get that fixed. Okay. Any further discussion?
While you're here, I'm just curious, how's the fish fry going?
It's going great. We're bringing in good business. A lot of people that have not ever heard of us before, and so we've got a lot of new customers that are continuing to return.
And
so
I
it's
really
going
love
well.
how y'all are working with the Forbes family to make that an all-day event here in Watertown.
They had contacted us to see
Yeah.
if they could set up for a silent auction during the fish
Yes,
fry. And
I appreciate that.
Would absolutely
Showing
support that.
Community support like that. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions, comments? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the bid of Middle Tennessee two-way. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? All right. Here you go.
Thank
What
you.
else you got, Chief? Anything?
That's it.
I had a nice comment on the fish fry too from a gentleman on the 911 board that wants me to come and eat supper with a group he's bringing, and I said, those are on Saturday during football season, so talk to me in January. I'll be glad to join you.
Yes, sir.
And I think he comes pretty often, so I promised him I would. All right, Chief, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Laney, come on up. Got anything you need to tell us?
Got stuff everywhere.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
I'm
good.
sorry.
Any questions on this to start with and on our monthly report?
Anybody? Questions? I don't see anything, Chief. Catches my eye.
We do have some stuff that we need to, I don't know, did the city attorney contact you on any of the stuff we need to adopt for our court system? He was supposed to talk to you, and so was Judge Lee.
If he did, Chief, I've not seen it. I certainly hadn't talked to anybody about it. I can't say that they didn't send it to me, but I've not seen it.
Basically, we just need to establish a fixed court cost for the court, which we don't have at this time.
Okay,
So depending on what people gets charged with, their court cost changes.
okay,
And also, the judge he said he was gonna talk to you about, there's a dismissal fee when, administrative fee that he does when
okay,
someone has a problem and comes, and brings it over and shows that the problem is fixed.
okay,
And it's a $25 fee, and that's something that needs to be,
okay,
according to him, he can do this.
Okay.
Just need his signature, but of course he don't want to do it without speaking with you, which
well, we'll
he
need
ought
to
to.
adopt it here. If any of y'all seen it, did I miss it and y'all saw it? Okay, we need to get that before we vote on it, but it needs to be done.
Okay, yeah, and the rules of the road
Yeah,
needs to be adopted as part of the city ordinance also. And I think I've got some copies of all that. I'll get it to you.
okay.
So
And
you'll
again,
have it.
I know I had talked to Judge Lee about it.
Yeah,
And I don't think Tim sent me anything, Tim Davis.
okay, yeah, he was supposed to, we was gonna talk to him, because I figured, that with y'all being in Lebanon together, that y'all would talk regular.
Well, we're like everybody else, we talk by email, nobody
But,
talks
yeah,
personally.
yeah, he didn't wanna talk to us without talking to you first.
Well,
So-
and I'll be glad to, we'll do what we need to do.
Okay,
But I'm sorry I'm not better prepared for it, because I
okay.
wasn't aware of
Well,
it.
I'll get copies of everything that we need to do and get it for you.
Send it to us, if you would.
You got it. Thank you.
All
Any
right.
other questions?
Anybody got any questions of the chief? All right, thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, I got some items of old business, and let me start off, I don't have any particular order, but let me, Ms. Dowd had asked last time about us getting with the school system and seeing about what kind of relief we could get for people parking on both sides of the road and some speeding. Assistant Chief Enderlight told me today he has talked to Steve Spencer and that he has, they're supposed to be getting us a plan back. I will have to tell you, their wagon's pretty much loaded down there right now, so it doesn't surprise me they hadn't gotten back to us yet, but we'll stay on top of that for you. But did I quote that right, Chief? Okay. All right. I think y'all approved me going to the Tennessee Municipal League meeting, and I went Sunday. It stayed Sunday and Sunday night, and yesterday till about 3 o'clock, and I had to get back for the county commission. And I've got several things I want to work in here and tell you about as we go through, but every time I've gone to the TML, there's always 2 or 3 vendors there with large equipment. And I don't have to tell you, I think you can probably guess, I went wanting to talk to people about a backhoe, and there wasn't a soul there with heavy equipment. Now, I did talk to some people about a lawnmower, and Bob will be proud of that. And I want to tell you about something else that I found. I'm not recommending it, but the salesperson has already called me today. And the thing is called a Me Goat. And I don't know how many of you folks have one of the little Roomba or whatever it is, vacuum cleaners that runs across the floor. They have made a lawnmower now that's about half the size of this table, and it mows yards. And they will program it, of course. They charge you for it. You don't own it, you rent it. But it can mow 2.5 acres a week without having to be recharged or whatever. So I watched that, and apparently they thought I had some interest in it by watching it. It wasn't to purchase, it's just to watch it. I'm from the country, I don't see many things like that. But I did talk to some folks about a lawnmower, not that we're in the market right now, but I know what's on the state bid now. And I've said all that to say I don't have anything further to tell you on the backhoe, but I'd sure hope that I would, because I figured somebody would be down there that had the state bid and that I could find out, but they were not. Now, what we did talk about, there was the, is it the American Relief Plan or whatever? We stand to get $441,000 of that over the next couple of years. The deadlines, the final rule has not been issued by the Treasury Department of the federal government. So they are still encouraging people not to draw down any of the money, not to request any of the money until the final rule comes along. But this is so governmentalish, even though they don't have a final rule, they expect you to do a report by October 31st. And the report can say, we hadn't drawn down any money and we hadn't spent any. And you know, what you should say on there is because y'all told us we couldn't, but I probably won't say that. But they're still working that out. It does look promising for us. They are encouraging you to spend the money in 3 areas, and none of which are on streets or sidewalks. The deadline, once you get the money, you have to give them a plan by December of 2024 of how you're going to spend it, and then it must be spent by December of 2026. So that tells me that probably not going to be in a big hurry to get you the final rule. They keep saying it's going to come out in October, but they said it was going to be in September too. In fact, the class I went to yesterday for an hour and a half, they started off by saying we thought we would have the final rule. That was the reason for scheduling it. They had someone by Zoom from the National League of Cities who's in Washington who's tracking that, and they brought us up to date on that as well. So that's something that we'll be discussing around this table, I suspect, for next couple of years. One other item of old business, we amended our water budget last time. The comptroller's office has told me it's fine, that they're issued an approval for us. I hadn't gotten a letter yet, but I got to thinking we adopt our budget on 2 readings. We adopted the amended budget on 1. We probably need to approve it on the 2nd reading just so we don't get caught up in a technicality. So I'm recommending that to you. There are absolutely no changes from last time. So I'd appreciate if y'all would approve that. Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. Some new business. I'll skip down to this one. Chief Hahn and I guess it was Laura, were talking about what they want to do for the family of Nick Forbes. Lenora Searles had sent me a Facebook message a couple of weeks ago, and I told her I'd bring it to here. She made a lot of requests using the park, using the fire hall. All of that stuff's worked out fine. Bob's told her there's nothing going on here in the park, so that's fine. The only thing they asked for, well, let me go at it another way. They asked to be able to use the concession stand, not for anything we may have in there, but just to use the cooker, the refrigerators, and all of that stuff. So I think we probably need to approve letting them do that. And the only thing I told her I could not recommend is she wanted to take tables and chairs out of here. And with COVID going on right now, I just don't think that's a good idea. So what I'll recommend to you is that we approve what she's asked for on the benefit, using the concession stand, the park, the fire hall, everything but the tables and chairs. So I'd like for y'all to bless that if you would. Okay, discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. 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 Okay. Motion carries. Let's talk about Halloween. I thought it'd been more often, but we hadn't had a Halloween fall on Sunday since 2010, I'm told. And I started getting Facebook messages in August wanting to know, Mayor, what are you going to do about Halloween? And so I don't think, I'll pretty much give the same speech I gave 11 years ago. I don't think we have the authority as a council to tell people when their kids can go knock on their grandmama's door. But I do think we have the authority to recommend one night or the other. I checked with the chamber today. They're having some events on Saturday night, the 30th. I think some churches are planning some events. So I would like to see us recommend that Halloween be observed on Saturday, October the 30th. Now, if somebody sends their kids out on Sunday night, that's on them. And I think what I said 11 years ago, April reminded me, you know, if you don't want that to happen, just keep your porch light off. Don't go to the door. But Halloween's always been a big thing here. We always, as y'all know, it looks like there's thousands of kids running around up and down the streets, and I think that's good. But I'm going to recommend to you that we recommend that Halloween, the people observe Halloween on October 30th. So I don't know. I didn't ask that. I did ask a lot of our local, not a lot, but a few of our local people. So. But I just, personally, I don't think we ought to do that on Sunday night. Discussion, motion?
I recommend that we approve this motion as the mayor stated.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Don't know, y'all go out on Sunday night now. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, let me talk about a couple of other items. We got some money from the state last year as part of the COVID relief package, and had a discussion with a representative from the comptroller's office Wednesday before last, be 2 weeks tomorrow. And I asked, we've got a couple of low spots on our walking track where water's holding, and it's eventually going to get up under the asphalt and lift it. So we, Bob and I started talking about what we could do for the walking track to improve it. And I talked to the folks at the comptroller's office and said, look, you're telling us you want us to spend the money on something COVID related. COVID involves health. Health involves walking, being outside. They were encouraging people to get outside. So what about if we do some work on our walking track? And they said they thought they would approve that. Now, I hadn't gotten final approval, but so we got a bid here from ADC who came up a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And to add 1.5 inches of asphalt all the way around on the walking track is $38,846. That seems a little pricey to me since we built the whole thing for about $60,000 or $65,000. But they did also say that they could fix the low spots that are holding water, repave it, make sure the water goes to the low side of the path, and install a riprap ditch to the creek at each area. That would cost us $12,069, and then they'll apply 2 coats of sealer all the way around for $65.86. Talked to Bob Morgan by telephone today, and he's recommending that we do fix the low spots and apply the sealer all the way around. So that'll cost about, looks like about a little over $18,600. So I'm going to recommend that to you based on Bob's recommendation. And
Mr. Mayor, are all 3 of these prices separate prices, or is the first and the third figured into the second?
I don't think so. Bob didn't think so either, although I didn't ask that specific question.
Okay.
That wouldn't be a bad deal if it was all figured, but
it says add by the bottom 2.
Yeah.
So I would assume they're separate.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
paving and sealing are 2 different things, so yeah.
So if you're of a mind to do that, or if you want to do the other, I'm not speaking against that, but I need you to do 2 things for me as a part of the motion. Number 1, it'll make it subject to the comptroller's approval, and 2, that they get this done within 60 days so that we get it done before the winter.
Do we not accept bids from other people, or is this?
We can. I was looking at this
advertised? Like, why did we choose this bid?
Because they do a lot of paving, and I was looking at this on an emergency basis because we've had so much rain and the water that's standing around. I've had some complaints about that.
Can they fulfill this in 60 days?
I didn't ask them about that, but if they can't,
we move somewhere else.
To do it, yeah. Not that I don't have any loyalty to ADC, but I do think that we need to get it done. If we bid it, we can certainly do that if you want to, and from there, but it would kind of be unfair to these folks. So, but I'm open to anything y'all want to do. I do think it needs to be fixed.
Yes, I agree.
I use this trail a lot.
Yeah.
And when it rains, you can't walk on it.
Yeah.
That's why the water was going on.
Would the entirety of this be covered under the state funds that you were referring to earlier?
That's what the comptroller told me, that he said, I think we can approve that.
Do we have a set amount that they are giving us,
Yeah,
or?
we got, what did we get last year, $144,000?
And so we'd be able to retain what we didn't spend in this project for additional projects? Okay.
Sure. And we're getting another 31,000 I just signed.
So this is no expense to the city, it's coming completely out of state funds that we've been given?
That's correct.
I got you, okay.
That's correct.
I make a motion, the first and the third, 12,000, 6,000, that we go with that.
The low spots and the sealer.
And be done within 60 days with comptroller approval. Okay. All right, is there a second to that
I'll
motion?
second that.
I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Assuming that the comptroller stands behind their approval and they can do it within 60 days, we'll put out notice of when they're gonna do it so that you'll know to stay off the walking track for a day or two, until it sets up. So I appreciate that. The other thing.
We'll have to let Rick Martin know in advance.
Yeah, I'll have, well, I don't think there'll be any problem. Something else, just the August budget report. We're in good shape financially. You will see on the general fund and the Parks and Recreation Fund that we have had not had as much money come in the first 2 months as we have spent. There's nothing unusual about that at all. We get very few revenues as a city from April through basically September. Property taxes start in October, and that's when the bulk of your money comes in. But we're not too far off on either of these. Nothing that concerns me. Water and sewer. The projected revenues that I had to adjust for the amended budget are not living up to the first 2 months what they need to be. But that's the bad news. The good news is our expenditures are not there either. They're actually below what they should be after 2 months. So we're almost $23,000 to the good in water and sewer after 2 months. Revenues are not where they need to be, but expenditures, as long as they stay down below what we projected, hopefully we'll be okay. But if not, we'll have to revisit it in January. And that's slipping up on us pretty quick. I'm watching that pretty close, and we are, April and Lisa are doing a good job. We are encouraging people to pay on time and get that money in. I know it's tough, but we got expenses too. Some informational items. Let me go through quickly. The excursion train, as I understand, is coming Saturday, and rumor has it we'll have a train robbery. Yes. Maybe not a bank robbery, shouldn't.
A little train too.
Train robbery.
It's sold out, so.
Good. And I have received some notification from Susan Shaw at the county mayor's office, who is the Wilson County member on the Cumberland University Community Arts Council. They are having the second annual Chalk Art Fest, a virtual art contest open to all in Wilson County, and we would love to encourage participation from Watertown. If I bring it up at the council meeting tonight, that would be helpful, and I'm doing that. What you do is you are in an age or team category, you register, they'll give you a box of chalk, and you go out and draw something on hopefully your property, and take a picture of it and send it in, and it'll be judged. And then if you make the cut, the top 5 get to present on November the 6th. So they said specifically, please encourage shop owners on the square to offer their sidewalks to aspiring artists. This is great for children, grandkids, and adults. So, and take your picture quick, as she says, and it goes away in the rain. So I have some of these flyers here. If anybody's interested tonight, I made 10 copies. You're welcome to them. And really, I don't know much more about it than that, but I do know that it was a big success last year, and so, and I know we've got some artists here in this town, so I suspect can do some things with chalk that some of us could only do stick men with. Okay, I'm going to say one other thing. Part of this comes from the Tennessee Municipal League, and I put it in my article, so you'll probably see it again Thursday or Friday when the paper comes out, but some other things. I guess I visited this year with more mayors and council persons from around the state than I ever have. And I don't know whether, you know, when I get there, I'm probably one of the oldest there, and maybe they feel sorry for me or whatever. But they talked, and I only had 2 people that didn't know where Watertown was. Everybody else had a story to tell. I rode the excursion train there one time. I went to the drive-in. I bought something I never thought I'd find at a yard sale. I said probably the mile long yard sale. They were just very complimentary of Watertown. And 1 or 2 of them said something that stayed with me, and I'm very proud of this. I'm all about community. I'm all about Watertown. If y'all hadn't figured that out, I am. And they said to me, I wish we could do something like that. And I thought, well, you can, but I don't know it's my place to tell you how to do it. We don't need the competition. So they were very complimentary of Watertown. I was very proud of that. And that just made me feel good, not as mayor, but as I put in my article, the people of this community are to be congratulated. And I think about people over the years that have done things here. One of them sitting right here on the front row, Bob McComb, has worked hard to make Watertown very, he's put us on the map. People have put us on the map, and it showed up there. A lady from Unicoi asked me about it. Folks, I don't even know where Unicoi is. She told me, but it's in Upper East Tennessee. Some little town in outside of Union City talked to their mayor, and he asked about Watertown, and it's just good. Now we'll say a couple other things. We've got a couple of kids playing football in college here that are from Watertown. Vontae Bates, I think most everybody here knows Vontae. He's a graduate of Watertown High School, senior playing at Bethel. He was the Mid-South Conference Defensive Player of the Week this week. That's all over the Mid-South. And then Rusty Stats. Y'all remember little Rusty? He ain't so little anymore. Yeah, he ain't so little anymore, but Rusty started out, and Vontae may have too, but Rusty started out playing right up here on this football field, junior pro, came right on up to junior high and high school. He is now the starting center for Western Kentucky. And they played at the Army. They played at West Point week before last. And they were on ESPN3 opening night. And when he got introduced, they introduced him as Rusty Stats from Watertown, Tennessee. You can't put a price on that. And I'm just, and speaking of price, Heath plays at Tennessee Tech and played in Neyland Stadium last Saturday from Watertown, Tennessee. What I have said over the years, and many of you have said, and this is just examples, our kids can compete with anybody. And they can be or do anything they want to do. And they're doing it. And they're coming out of this school and they're going and they're being successful in whatever field of life they go, that they choose to follow. But these kids have brought very good publicity to our community. They don't know it, but when they play football and play well and they put Watertown by it, that shines well on us and our school and everything. So I'm very proud of that. So I'll get off my soapbox now, but I can't help but be positive about the way things are going. Trying to think if there was anything else that was said up there that I need to tell you about. I appreciate again you letting me go, and I will encourage each one of you in the future, if you would like to attend the Tennessee Municipal League, please do so. It's going to be at Gatlinburg next year in August. That's not my favorite place, but they don't ask me where to hold it. So My choice is to go or not to go. All right, we'll go around the table. Hal? Okay. Steve? Okay. Laura?
I had two names.
Okay.
DeKalb, I think it was DeKalb County or Smith County, I can't remember where we were involved. But they just got a grant to redo their sidewalks. They're getting ready to start that project. And I don't know who to contact or how to go about finding out what grant, if it's something we could do. I'm not a writer. But I hear that we have some really good grant writers in Watertown. But I don't mind looking into it and trying to
Please.
talk and get this going.
DeKalb or Smith?
It was either Smith County or DeKalb, I don't know.
But was it county or city?
It was in county.
Okay.
But they were doing it for the city, no, it was for the downtown area.
Okay.
And I want to say it was Alexandria.
Oh, okay, so it was a city, okay.
I'm actually thinking.
It's probably gonna be a city because there's not too many sidewalks out in the county.
But yes, they just got a grant to redo their sidewalks.
Okay. Let me say this, and we'll come back to that when you jog my memory, and I need that help a lot of times. I got an email today from the chamber president, and they are looking at a project that might help raise some money to do some sidewalk repair, and they would like the city to partner with it, but I don't know enough details, and I just got hit with it this morning, but I suspect to bring that to you in October. But still, the grant would be better.
Everything you're saying with what we had with the train coming in and then my lawn yard stuff, if we just do nothing but Main Street, I'm not worried about the side roads, it will help our little town.
And that's what,
Look better and.
that's what the chamber was starting at with Squire and Main Street.
Right.
Okay.
So that I do not mind helping that.
Okay.
Get that going and if you can just, you and I can talk later.
I've teased y'all a little bit on that, but I'll get the information and have it for you next time.
The other thing that I had wanted to bring up was is it possible for us to get a sand volleyball court? I know years ago we used to have one here.
We did.
And our kids go to Lebanon a lot to play sand volleyball. And they love hanging out here in Watertown. They hang out at 3 courts in the park, and our police are wonderful when it comes to allowing that and checking on them, make sure they're not, being mischief. But that's one thing I know our kids have shown interest in, like Lisa sand volleyball.
We used to have one right here, didn't we? Where they put the sign up.
I just didn't know the cost of work that would require.
I don't know the answer to that, but it's sure worth looking into. Hal, I'm thinking, me and you go back further than anybody, but we used to have that, but I think we did away with it when we dug that third well out there. And a lot of people don't know there's a well right there.
Sand probably, sand is still there.
Yeah.
If we could always scrape the top off and add more sand, it's pretty cheap.
We could probably do that ourselves.
Yep.
That's what I was saying. That seems fairly easy.
Okay. I'll
We
talk.
just have that.
Honestly, I think.
We got one. We're just paying rent on it.
Honestly, a good net would probably be more expensive than the sand. I mean, I speak from experience on that.
Speaking of nets, I took my little grandbaby over to the park here a month ago, and they have put new nets on our basketball goals, repainted some things out there, looks really good, so I wanna thank you all for that.
Bob Morgan watches that pretty close.
He's done a really good job.
And there are a lot of kids who play basketball right out here late in the afternoon. And sometimes things get a little heated. And sometimes you'll hear some language that maybe not what you recommend to your kids, but by and large, they're pretty good kids. And they play, and I don't know, they don't present us a lot of problems, do they, Mike? And every now and then I'll hear them, if I'm over here, I'll hear them say something. Say, guys,
There's a lot of other places they could be there.
absolutely. I'll tell them, say, guys, your words don't bother me, but hold it down, they might bother somebody.
That's exactly what Bill Schultz said about the hanging out of 3 courts. You don't leave any trash and you don't vandalize it, I won't say anything to you.
Yep.
And we need somewhere safe and fun for our kids to go.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that volleyball. I guess somebody here will know you should know the dimensions of a volleyball court.
A little different than a hardwood court, but
Okay.
they're not,
Well, you're the Hall of Fame volleyball coach, state tournament, 4 years in a row. Yeah, she's our resident technical consultant. I say that jokingly, but that was a very good run. That excited the town. Okay, what else you got? That's pretty good. Christy? All right, Caleb?
Two things as well. Kind of on what she was saying. I know you said that we can't use that money for paving. Is there any, because I'm new up here, but is there ever been any discussion on doing something, paving the roads? Like even just if it was a matter of like, you know, each year just paving this much and going down and getting it done. Because I'm 29 years old and I don't think I've ever seen these roads been repaved in my lifetime. Have they?
They were repaved in 1997.
Okay, so I was 5. So okay,
every one of them. We struck a deal with the road commission, which I can't.
But it's something ridiculous, like $600,000 for 2 miles or something.
Yeah,
You know? $100,000 a month.
I was gonna say, like she was saying, you know, I don't know if we need to obviously look at some grants or whatever, but
we to answer your question, Caleb, we've talked about it several times here. I don't know that it would work out, but possibly if some of this money we're getting can be used for something else, maybe it'll free up some of our money. But
yeah,
we won't be able to do them all. There's no way. It would cost probably, I want to say we paved 10.3 miles the last time. And we've added a little bit to it, not much. But $100,000 a mile.
We got a good deal then.
We did. All we paid for was the materials and the labor. We didn't pay any overhead. Road commission did it and worked out really well. And then Lebanon Mountain Jude said, well, we'd like the same deal, and that's where it went away.
yeah.
So,
And then the other thing, with the old city hall on the square, has there been any talks about, like, I know it says Watertown City Hall, and I know it's kind of probably, you know, historic or whatever, but I've had several people I know that are new here that get kind of confused because they're like, is that the city hall? Is that the police station? So I don't know if there's something maybe we could do, maybe at least scraping the police off that glass just so people aren't going there. And then I don't know what y'all would want to do about it saying city hall, because like I said, it's kind of iconic, I guess, at this point.
I don't see it just like this. It's always been city hall, as long as I can remember.
well, I know a lot of our visitors have their picture made in front of it, you know, because of the police
That's
thing.
a landmark as far as far as
But
it's concerned.
it does need some painting, that's for sure. It needs some
Yeah.
sprucing up.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like take away that or anything. I just meant clean it up maybe a little bit, and at least the police off that window, get that scraped off.
But what about sandblasting? I mean, steam cleaning that thing. Would that help it?
I mean, I would think maybe a good pressure washing would do.
That's very good.
And I have a suggestion on that. Since it is the historic City Hall, can we change the sign to say historic City Hall and maybe put in the year it went into service and the year it went out of service, so that people know it's a historic marker.
That's pretty much word for word what I was going to
marker.
say, yeah.
We could do that. I'm thinking,
As long as it stays city hall, that's all I care.
did Pat Jackson paint that back when we did it? That goes way back. You remember April? Did Pat paint that? Or something tells me Steve Brown had something to do with it.
Has that building been, I don't know the proper verb here, but has it been recommended for historic Watertown? Like, is it labeled as a historic building in the historic district of Watertown? Or is it still just a... You have information on that? You think it has been moved into that category? Okay. Well, that's a good thing, yeah. That's kind of where I was going with that, yeah.
That goes to John Jewell's jurisdiction, where they're, what they're on.
We'll look into that, Caleb. The road paving, I wish I could be more optimistic. But
What are those three categories? Obviously, infrastructure is not one of them, but what are the three categories that that money can be spent on?
That they're encouraging is water, sewer, and broadband. So, you know, if we spend it on sewer, it's got to go through the water and sewer fund, and that doesn't free up any money there on street paving because that comes out of general. So that's, I'm hoping when the final rule comes down.
But don't we, and I use the term tear up loosely, that's not at all what I see our city workers doing, but we do disturb our roadways significantly.
We do.
Through water and sewer projects, and it's necessary, and it has to be done on a timely manner. So I would think that correcting those areas would still fall under water and sewer if that was the original intent of the disruption of our roadways. But they don't see it that way, correct?
Well, I don't know that I can say that with 100% certainty. When the final rule comes out, we'll see if we can't wordsmith that some way. And
I mean, we may not be able to get 10 miles
Yeah.
in, but I would think we could probably document at least through Main Street where we have had to go into our roadways.
Oh, we've got it.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
I mean,
but some of the sewer project will involve necessarily some street
Sure.
paving to replace, but it won't be anywhere near. And thank y'all for jogging my memory again. We have got our application in the sewer revolving loan fund. I actually have a friend who works for the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund, and I talked to her while I was there. I used to represent her parents years ago. And I asked her about, were we eligible? And she said, yes. She said, you need to stay with sewer revenue because they can give you principal forgiveness. But if it doesn't work out, you bring it to us. And I said, do I need to go ahead and put in an application? And she said, no, we can move quickly. So I think we've got two alternatives for low cost money. But as y'all say stuff, it reminds me of what I talked about.
Street paving is Watertown still a state highway? That was a highway, state highway years ago.
It was. I don't think it is,
It's
Hal.
not recognized now.
I don't think so. If you remember, and I'm going back again to me and you being young whippersnappers, Mr. Dick Macon was in charge of TDOT in Wilson County, and he always salted that down through there, but it never was a state road, but he'd do it.
It was years and years ago.
Yeah.
recognized as a state highway.
Because some of it's still out there in front of Paulette Dorsey's house out there and all that. So. Okay. We'll take a look at that, see what we can do.
I only have one thing. Do you have the date for Nick Forbes's?
October 2nd.
October 2nd.
I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
That's all.
And you know, it goes without saying that was a tragedy for our community. Fine. He'll always be a kid to me. Randy played on a T-ball team for me. And
I had Nick in class.
yeah, he came down through here for first practice. And of course, he was broad as he was long, and he had on a pair of wraparound sunglasses. I mean, he came dressed, and I called him Hollywood, and I've called him that. There were times I didn't know what his first name was. All I could remember was Hollywood. That's more on me than it is him, but miss that kid. Do you have anything else, Brandon?
No, that's
okay. Try and think if I learned anything else in the last 36 hours, but I'll probably think about it. If I do, I'll send y'all an email. We ready to adjourn?
Next meeting.
I didn't say, it'll be the third Tuesday. What is that, 17th maybe? You know what it is, April? 19th? Okay. October 19th, 6 o'clock.
Just to let you know, the volleyball is in state tournament, that's the first day.
When?
Yes.
Then I'll be polling y'all about what new dates you want to have.
Okay.
We'll support.
And request a date change, y'all just please remember.
If we get to the state tournament, we'll support. Yep. Okay. We ready for a motion? Y'all are.
Make the motion.
Thank you. Somebody want to second that? Second. Thank you. Everybody get up and go home. Thank you.